Welcome to Where Are We Wednesday. I'm Jorie Walters, Kankakee County Museum Research Coordinator. Today we are at the Dr. Small Memorial Home on the campus of the Kankakee County Museum. Now, in this video, I am going to take you on a tour of the first floor. And then the second video of the series, I will take you on a tour of the second floor. And then the third one, I'm going to take you on a tour of the grounds here at the museum, because this was all their farm when the Smalls lived here. So that will be a three-part series, so make sure you watch each individual episode. So today I'm going to start the inside, so let's go. We are on the first floor of the Dr. Small Memorial Home, and I always start the tours in this room. And most everything you see in this house belongs to the Small family. We do have a few things that are added to decorate the place. So over here we have the dry sink, no plumbing. This house is 1855. Now the Smalls, Dr. Small, Abram Small, and his wife Callista Currier Small, they were from Indiana, and they came to the Rockville area, State Park area, before they moved here. Now this side of Kankakee, the west side, was nothing going on over here in the 1850s, so they were one of the first people to purchase land over here. In another video, we will explore that land. Now, they were very lucky because they had a water pump right outside this door. And many people had to go a long way in the property just to get water, so they were very lucky. So we have a sink, the dry sink. We have the table that they used. We have the spinning wheel, and we have the stove. Now this door we're going to be using in the second video. This is the stairwell, the second stairwell going up. Now this room was redecorated or remodeled a little bit many years ago. Now I have two papers from two grandsons from Dr. Small, grandsons of Dr. Small, I should say, who did write to the museum in the late 60s, and each one described the home and the property around it. So I will be using references to both of those papers as I talk about each area. Now over here, we will show you, we have a washing machine, actually too, a very early model and a later model. They were both donation pieces and they're period pieces. And when I show students how they did laundry and how it was efficient and saved a day for the mom to do laundry, they look at me and kind of giggle and say, right. So then we have also description of the hedge apple, which is over in the driveway, the trees in the driveway and what that was used for. This door was used quite frequently because it's by the driveway. I have a picture that I will show you in a later video. This door was here, but there was a shed attached to it, and a description of that shed had coal and wood and things like that stored in it for a long time. On one of the pictures, they thought it was a summer kitchen. It was not. I will talk about what a summer kitchen is when we get to another room. All right, in description of the kitchen, this was used as a pantry. Today there's a sink in it, and it's a cleaning closet, but this is where they stored all the food. Because if you notice in the kitchen, there are no cabinets. So they stored food in here. And then we have a description of maybe what this might have been used for, and they thought maybe as a kind of a butler's pantry, they had something sitting here where they could have the food sitting on it before they brought it into the dining room. All right, now we are in the dining room, and this room is the biggest room, the widest room on this floor. Now, today we put money into our kitchens, people hang out there, or our family room. But the dining room or the kitchen, if you didn't have a dining room back then, was the place where people in the family gathered. They had all their meals here. This was before takeout and delivery and eating out. They had everything. This is a small table, no pun intended. This dish set is not of theirs. It was a donation. The table is not theirs. It would have been a lot bigger to accommodate 8 people. The artwork in this room was done by Suzanne. In the next room, I will introduce the children to you. If you watched Little House on the Prairie, you don't have to watch very long to realize which family had a little bit more money. The Olsons, their dining room would have looked like this. Now, even the Ingalls, they did not have a dining room or a living room, but they did spend time around the dinner table. Custom cabinets. Now, today, custom cabinets are big money, and back then, imagine they would be a lot of money as well. There's a door right here for the stairs. You can come down and come into this room or the living room. Over here we have some books that Dr. Small was an avid reader, book collector. Just held books and some things on the bottom. Very good piece of furniture. Over here we have a sewing machine, and here we have a crib. We are in the parlor now. I will be showing you things in the parlor. I'll be standing in different spots. But first, I would like to introduce you to the children of the family. This is May. She was the eldest. She was born in 1954, and she was the first one to pass away at the age of about 17. Next in line was Suzanne. She was the artist of the family. She was the last one to live in the home at the age of 75. She passed away in 1931. Next in line was Judge John. He was a judge and a lawyer in town here. Then we go down to little brother Len, who grew up to be governor of the state of Illinois in the 1920s. Next in row was Callista, mother's name also Callista, and then little sister Mabel. So that is the family, and actually they passed away almost in order. This is an example of Suzanne's portraiture sketching. She signed and dated these. She went to the Art Institute of Chicago, studied, and she did portraiture. She loved to do sketching. She did a lot of different paintings, a lot of different styles. This is their phonograph that they used. This room was the first addition to the home, and the dining room and the kitchen were the second addition to the home. Now, when they came to this room, it's not set up for living. It's set up to show off the pieces of the family. Now you can imagine they would have been lounging in the evening. And when I tell the kids on tour that there was no phones, no computers, nothing like that for them to play with, they just thought that was awful. But kids back then had a lot of chores to do, they had a lot of homework to do, and they didn't have a whole lot of free time. On this side of the room are some paintings I want to point out to you. Suzanne did this one. Now, Suzanne was in Paris to study art around 1908, and she took a little hiatus to Spain, took a break from her studies and went to Spain. So I think maybe this might have been a Spanish-Moroccan influence for that painting. We'll show this later. Drawing of the little sister Mabel with two nephews, all in pencil. Back here we have her gubernatorial gown when she went to her brother Len's second gubernatorial win for governor. She wore this dress, and note how small it is. It was very short. And then here we have some of her painting equipment that she used, and then another piece of furniture that held books for Dr. Small's collection. And here we have a big trunk, and this was Suzanne's. Now, when they traveled in this day and age, they didn't use suitcases, they used trunks. And usually they were gone for quite a while. So I asked the kids when they do a tour, how would you like to bring that on vacation with you? This is little sister Mabel's piano. I came across this listing in our material. I have a very big box on just the small family material. And this is one of her paintings of the Impressionist period. Now, she went to Paris just after the Impressionist period became popular in Europe, and she really enjoyed that. We have many paintings of hers that were of the Impressionist style. All right, and the last thing I want to show you in this room is this music box. And I'll play a little bit for you. Stay listen to this in the room. Now, I found a photograph in our collection of Len Small standing over this music box looking that way to a photographer. Very cool picture. And then this picture is Suzanne painting herself sitting there looking at the music box. We are back to the first two rooms of the home that were built. These two rooms, the doctor's office, the sitting room, and then there's two bedrooms upstairs directly above here. Now, notice there's no kitchen because the kitchen wasn't built until much later. So back in the day, they used to have many houses had summer kitchens, which was a building that was detached from the house where they did all the cooking. They did that usually for fire safety reasons, because they usually would do by big fireplaces, and a lot of fires would occur, so they kept the building separate. Now, speaking of fireplaces, you notice this one right here, very small. You don't see your traditional big fireplace in any room. There was one possibly in another room, because we can see pictures of the metal pipe out of the top of the home in some pictures. Back in Kankakee, this was a period piece in a donation. And then the stove, and then over here we have a telephone. Now, they had some money, so when the new telephone became available, they had one. And that is the second question that the kids ask me, is how does that work? Now, I haven't talked about Dr. Small yet, and I should do that. Dr. Small, Dr. Abram Small, was a physician, general physician, and he saw patients in his office, but he also loved horticulture. So he had greenhouses and gardens all over the home. He loved horticulture so much. He also had a nursery business. All the trees in the back, all that property was his. That he loved horticulture, so he was really good at growing rhubarb. He got so good at that he ended up having a family business that went down a couple of generations in his family. And from this site where the museum's campus building is today, that was all rhubarb. Up where Riverside Hospital is, he also owned that property. The hospital wasn't there until 1964. And he had rhubarb growing up there. He became so good at it that he ended up being on the NASDAQ Chicago Stock Exchange. The business slogan was small, small, and small. Largest exporters of the pie plant, which is another word for rhubarb. Now, he also got really good at growing rhubarb in his cellar. When I do the tour of the outside, I will show you where the cellar door is. He did it in the cellar, and he realized that if there was no light coming in, then the stalks would turn their ruby red. But if any light hit the plants, they would not turn out. So he was able to do this sale of rhubarb nationwide all year round. Should also make a note, he did do asparagus too, which doesn't nearly get enough attention. We'll show you portraits up here of Dr. Small and his wife. Over here is the family Bible. I read about this in some research, so I decided to see if we had it in our collection, because we have many, many, many big Bibles like this. I did find it, so I thought we should put it out on display. In back of me, there is a door. Now, the front door is over here. The door that guests would come in is over here. Now, we think maybe that this door they put in after they built the first edition, the parlor room, so that patients could come in this door and use this as a waiting room for when they came to see the doctor. This is Dr. Small's office. This is where you came to see the patients. Now, all the material in here, some of it is not his, like the doctor's bags. Those are examples of what he would have used back in the day. And as you can see, there are several portraits and drawings of Dr. Small. Suzanne really liked to draw her parents' pictures and paint them. He had a desk, he had a wheelchair, and he had a chair. This is where he would have had medicines in bottles, and he also would have used measuring device over here. The idea of the pharmacy wasn't quite there yet. You would still get medicines from your doctor. He would determine what you had and then gave you medicines accordingly. Right, what's interesting about coming to Dr. Small's home, since the west side of Kankakee was not part of Kankakee for many, many years to come, was people had to come from Kankakee near St. Mary's Hospital, around there. That was one of the old neighborhoods. And beyond, the north side of Kankakee, the east side of Kankakee, that is a long way to come by horseback, by carriage, in streets that were mud. You had to come in the sleet, in the rain, in the mud, in the snow, it didn't matter. And there was only one bridge at the time. That was the Washington Street Bridge that was available to cross the river. The other bridges came later. So people had to come a long way from Kankakee to come here to see the doctor. Now, he was not the only physician in town at the time, but he was one of several. that were in the city. I really try to press upon the children when they come the idea of transportation and how we can get anywhere today by car very quickly. But when you had horses and you had to put all the gear on them or hook them up to the carriage just to go somewhere, that took a lot of time, and you had to keep your horses up to date and cared for properly to get anywhere. And the windows over here are doors. They opened out into let the air in during the summertime. Of course, lack of air conditioning. And if you notice, there's one room that is missing, and it's missing from the upstairs as well. There was no bathroom. Now, they would have had a tub, that metal kind of tub that they would have used in the kitchen, poured hot water in it, and everybody would take a bath in that. And they would have had an outhouse somewhere on the property. Now, the last person I said to live in the home was 1931. And after that, the house went into decay a little bit for several years. And then museum came, and I will explain that in another video. So when I was in the other room, the second parlor, I forgot to introduce you to Mom and Dad, Mr. and Mrs. Abram Small. There are their photos, right? All right, so we are in the foyer for the home. If you notice, this wall is really thick. This one is not. In the next room between the parlor and the dining room is another thick wall. So we think the parlor was the first edition, and then the other two were the second edition. Now, the front door is in front of me. This is the formal entrance, as I said, and this is where you would have come. The family might have used it, but more than likely they used the back door to come in and out. Coat rack and everything for your coats. The stairs here, when we redid the upstairs about a decade ago, over a decade ago, there was carpeting and no railing on the stairs. So when I pick up the second floor, I will pick it up from the stairwell here. And portraits of Dad, Abram Small, and Suzanne did a lot of herself in portraits as well. Portraitures of painting and in drawings. And this concludes the first floor of the Dr. Small home. Please watch this one, and then the following two will be on the second floor and will be on the grounds.